What's up? I'm Troubleshoot. Welcome back to another video. In this quick one, I'll show you how to download and install Oobabooga Desktop WebUI, as well as the Open Assistant Pythia model. I'll be showing you a simple one-line installation command that hopefully you find useful. So what exactly is Open Assistant? Well, Open Assistant is an open model that's trained to be something like ChatGPT, but it's open. You can go ahead and help train the model. It'll learn from you as well as the thousands of other users here, and you can chat with it on the website by clicking the Try Our Assistant button. You'll find this in the description down below. New chat, and you can talk with it over the internet. This is the cool bit. You don't actually need to download anything to use Open Assistant. You can use it on the internet. However, it is, of course, censored and controlled in some ways, which you can skirt your way around should you use something like Oobabooga Desktop. And of course, you do require an internet connection to use it on the internet, obviously, but you can download it and use it on your own PC. Now, the online version is Llama, but the one that you can download is Pythia. I think you can change it here. No, not currently. Anyways, the Pythia model is licensed differently. It's nowhere near as restrictive, and I don't think, don't quote me on this though, that you need to use this only for research purposes. You can maybe use it for a bit more, but I'll leave that for you to decide and look into. I don't know what I'm talking about there when it comes to licenses. Anyways, for the most part, using it for yourself is completely fine. So without further ado, let's go ahead and automatically set up Oobabooga Desktop, as well as download the Open Assistant Pythia model. Currently, this one is Epoch 3.5, so 3,500 training cycles through the Open Assistant dataset. This is the 4th version, and this is the 12 billion parameter model. As far as I know, they haven't released other versions of this model. This is the most up-to-date version that you can get, and currently they went through trying to release the Llama version as well, but this is currently under a placeholder as licensing restricted. Anyways, this is the best that you can find so far, and as far as I understand, it'll require 24 gigabytes of RAM. So in your graphics card, if you have 12, it'll be 12 there, and 12 from your RAM, etc. It should be at least somewhere around there. You can find a way around it to use less RAM using arguments in Oobabooga Desktop, but I don't think you'll need to. It should just work out of the box. So how do we download, install this, as well as Oobabooga Desktop? I already have Oobabooga Desktop set up on my PC, so I'll fire up a Windows sandbox here just to show you what the installation looks like from scratch using my one-line install script. If you find this useful, do consider clicking the thanks or join button below this video, as these do take quite a bit of time to make and of course maintain. Anyways, I'll hit start, type in terminal if you have the Windows Terminal app installed, otherwise type in PowerShell and run it as administrator. Then when it opens up, we'll type in IEX inside of brackets IRM oasst for oasst.tc.ht and close brackets. You'll find this in the description down below. This is my one-line installation command. When you hit enter, it'll go ahead and download the Oobabooga installer from the official GitHub. Then it'll ask us what graphics card we have. I'll say NVIDIA and hit enter. Then it'll go ahead and download and set up the Oobabooga Desktop environment. This little section is managed by the Oobabooga team, so it's possible the script could stop working at some stage in the future, but I'll do my best to keep on top of it and update it. You can join my Discord for any information. This will take a bit of time to download and set up, as it's installing PyTorch and other things like that, which are relatively large. They're a few gigabytes in size and could take a hot minute to complete. When this is done, you'll see in this PC, C drive, you have a new TCHT folder, Oobabooga Windows, and this is where it'll be set up too. But don't worry about navigating back here manually. This script of mine will also automatically create desktop shortcuts for not only the WebUI, but also the Open Assistant model in the WebUI. It's really cool. There we go. When it's done, we'll be prompted for shortcuts. I'll hit Y. This will create a desktop shortcut for Oobabooga Desktop. It'll let us select what model we want to use should we have more than just one. Then it'll go ahead and set up Chocolatey as well as Aria 2C for a much faster Open Assistant model download if it's not already set up and installed. And of course, if this fails, it'll download the model using a much slower method. Anyways, when this is done, it'll start downloading the model, and this is rather big. If we have a look at the Open Assistant 12 billion Epoch 3.5 model here, you'll see 3 big files. All 3 of these are needed for the model to work. The first is 10 gigs, the next is 9.9, the next is 3.9. So, how much is this in total? Well, around 23, almost 24 gigabytes of memory needed for this model alone. Now, this is going to take quite a bit of time to download, so I'll skip past this, head back to my main PC, and resume the installation there, just to show you what creating desktop shortcuts looks like. So running the terminals admin, followed by the same installation command, I'll skip past installing Oobabooga again, as I already have it installed. Then it'll start downloading the Open Assistant model. Should it be half downloaded and crashed or corrupt for some reason or another, ARIA2C, should it have successfully installed, should verify the downloads and then proceed. Nothing too big was downloaded here at all, just to verify. Do I want desktop shortcuts? Yes, it'll go ahead and create a desktop shortcut for Open Assistant, Oobabooga WebUI, and launch it up. Here's the desktop shortcut, Open Assistant 12b 3.5 Oobabooga, and when you double click on it, it'll open up this window here. So opening up the Open Assistant shortcut on our desktop, it should then fire up the WebUI and load the model into memory. If I have a look at Task Manager over here, you should see that my graphics card fills up quite quickly, all the way to 12 gigs, meaning that pretty much half of the model is loaded into VRAM and should be really fast. The rest is offloaded into RAM, as you can see here. Checking the Processes tab, Python is using 13 gigs of RAM, meaning that 13 plus 10 or 11 or so loaded into VRAM, that's the full size of the model, meaning it's loaded fully. Now, the thing is that if you have the model loaded completely into VRAM, such as on a 24 gig 4090, 3090, etc., text generation will be really fast. If your VRAM fills up, it'll spill over into your RAM, meaning that generation will be a lot slower. This isn't exactly the best model to run on lower end hardware, but as long as you have enough RAM, it is possible. The quality of it is absolutely amazing, but it will take time to generate unless you have the pinnacle of hardware installed in your PC. Anyways, when it's done starting up, you can either select the link here, copy it with a right click, and open it in your browser. Otherwise, you can control click it to open it in your browser should you have the Windows terminal installed. Now, inside of here, head across to the Model tab at the very top and make sure that GPTQ parameters are set to none for wbits and group size if you have Open Assistant selected here. Should you open this using the Oobabooga shortcut, you'll need to select both of these manually. Otherwise, opening it with the Open Assistant shortcut on your desktop will select all of these automatically. Text generation. Let's go ahead and test it out. Hello, generate. Now it'll go ahead and think up a response. Oh, and that's fun. I can't really show you the speed of it as it's using so much of my graphics card that there's not enough left for me to record. That's pretty cool. I can start it up with manually setting GPU memory from 11 to just 10, and we'll try again. This will make it even slower as slightly less is loaded into our memory. I'll head to C, TCHT, Oobabooga, start oasst, edit the bat file here with any text editor, scroll down, and I'll add this line here, setting it to just 10. There we go. Let's start it up. Once again, you'll see my RAM and VRAM fill up, but this time it should be ever so slightly less, leaving a tiny bit for OBS to use. Yeah, that's almost full, but not completely full. Let's give it a try once more. So, who are you? Question mark. Let's see what it says. Hopefully OBS doesn't time out. That it did. Let's try it again with one less. This time there's even less loaded into our VRAM. So, who are you? Generate. Let's give it a look. Hopefully it doesn't freeze now. There we go. You can see the generation speed, but this is a little bit slower than using the full amount of VRAM in my graphics card. I'm on a 3080 Ti. It's a little bit faster. Should you have that set all the way up to 11, I've just had to manually crank it down, loading more into RAM rather than graphics card VRAM, making it slightly slower, but at least I can record with OBS. The quality of this model is absolutely insane, but of course the generation speed is very slow if you can't fit all of it onto a graphics card in one go. So you definitely need crazy hardware for this, otherwise just be prepared for slow responses. That being said, you can always use the Open Assist on the internet. You don't need to download anything at all. Anyways, just the fact that this is open source and available publicly is absolutely insane. It's a really cool project that unfortunately requires crazy hardware to run, but at this point, should you want, you already have Oobabooga Desktop installed. You can head across to the Hugging Face Open Assist repository and download previous versions of Pythia in smaller batches. So instead of 12 billion parameters, you can go for 1.4 or 6.9, for example. These are just older versions of the model and may not be as well fine-tuned. Head across to the files and versions, download these files here, and place them in C, TCHT, Oobabooga Windows, Text Generation Web UI, Models, create a folder in here, and just drop them in after you download them. When you're done, either run Start Windows in the Oobabooga Windows folder, otherwise you can use the shortcut on the desktop that was created when we installed it using my one-line install script. For the most part, that's it with this quick guide. It's really cool, but of course, requires a lot to run. If you enjoyed the one-line install script, do consider clicking the thanks or join button below this video. My name's been Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao!